district said Bill Elliott cannot be there, saying employees on leave are prohibited from entering any facility or attending any functions. The district says Bill Elliott was not accused of wrongdoing and was put on leave to not disrupt the police investigation. In a separate North Texas school district, a baseball coach is on leave following claims of inappropriate behavior with a student. Collinsville ISD says Coach Derek Jenkins was placed on administrative leave last week. The school says he is accused of inappropriate communications with a student. Jenkins is not allowed on district property or allowed to contact students or staff while police conduct that investigation. Several North Texas cities may no longer be a stop for DART buses and trains in the next year. Plano, Farmers Branch, and Highland Park are considering leaving the public transit system. Trevor Sohaki explains why the cities are thinking about leaving and the impact it could have on riders and DART.
This decision comes down to what they believe is uneven budgetary spending within their borders. The three cities say their taxpayers are contributing more to DART than what DART is spending back in their cities. Plano says an independent review from 2023 shows taxpayers contributed $109 million to DART, but only $44 million was spent with the city. Also in 2023, Farmers Branch says its residents gave DART more than $24 million, but the transit system spent a little more than $20 million there. During that same time, Highland Park says it gave DART $6.3 million, but just under $2 million was put back in the community. If these city councils choose to sever their relationship with DART next week, voters must approve ending the deal next May. And if that goes through, all services would stop in those cities.
There are a number of people who access their jobs and a variety of services and education who rely on DART to get to those destinations, and I would hate for any of our riders to lose that access as a result of the actions of their city councils.
If they stop using DART, the cities say they will work on alternate transportation services, either with or without DART. This comes as the FIFA World Cup, of course, is right around the corner, and tens of thousands of people will be using DART to get around. DART says its ability to serve those fans would be severely impacted by a withdrawal. Trevor Sohaki, CBS News, Texas.
You still have time to cast your vote for the November 4th election. Early voting ends tomorrow, and we caught up with Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins and his family as they arrived early this morning to cast their votes. Stay with CBS News Texas on air and online for continuing coverage of Tuesday's election. Well, coming up, President Trump gives the go-ahead for nuclear weapons testing and later clarifies those comments. And the recovery begins after Hurricane Melissa's devastating strike in the Caribbean.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. I'm Chief Jennifer Gabbert with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. We appreciate you being out here today for Operation Safe City, Dangerous Roads. This event, this collaboration is a great collaboration between multiple agencies. You should have received a slip of paper that has the spelling for each speaker's name. So they won't be spelling out their names when they step up. So hopefully if you didn't get one, you can grab one before you leave, okay? We're going to have several people speaking today. We'll have Sheriff Wayburn, Fort Worth Chief Garcia, Arlington Chief Jones, and our accident investigator, Deputy Allen, DPS Director Sherrod. Sheriff? You want to step up and introduce the video?
Before we get started here today, we've got a video that we've put together to try to set the tone for today. So we can start that, and then we'll get with our speakers.
We begin, though, with 3 people dead and 2 in critical condition after a fatal crash in Far...
We're not live.
Take 2.
They can edit.
We begin, though, with 3 people dead and 2 in critical condition after a fatal crash in far southwestern Tarrant County on Labor Day.
The accident also involved a tractor trailer, and we do know that this is a fatal accident.
Again, this is that 4-vehicle crash. We do know at least 1 person has died.
We've lost someone really important in our community, and we need to honor her.
The motorist was sitting stationary on the shoulder of this freeway. He was killed by the force of an impact. Police say the driver who crashed into him was drunk.
And Fort Worth police are still investigating what caused a multi-vehicle crash that killed 3 people. Police are investigating a fatal crash in Fort Worth. 1 person died at the scene. 5 others were taken to the hospital.
Fort Worth police say 1 person is dead after a speeding driver lost control and hit a bus stop before slamming into a building. It happened here along 1187 in Ben Day Mirren Road. 3 people were killed.
They still needed help. We all needed help.
4 vehicles crashed. 1 of those cars caught fire.
It's a shame that, like my daughters are saying, Mom's not going to be at my graduation.
We wanted that to a little bit set the stage about what we're talking about today. But first of all, while we talk about crashes today, is I want to tell you that you're in one of the safest major counties in the United States. And it's because of the incredible leadership of these chiefs standing behind me right now is that we are that safe, whether you're in Grand Prairie or you're in Fort Worth, Arlington, or Azle. This is a safe place to be. Our mission today is make it a little bit safer. And with doing so, I want to introduce one of our deputies who is a crash investigator. And before you hear from some sheriffs, and I've invited him up because I want you to see boots on the ground inside these horrible, preventable, fatal crashes. Deputy Allen.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. I am Jeremiah Allen. I am a detective with Tarrant County Sheriff's Office Traffic Investigations Unit. I'm going to give you kind of a brief idea of the Cliff's Notes version of my history so you can understand why Sheriff Wayburn asked me to speak to you today. I started with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office in the beginning of 2011. In 2012, I was selected to become a deputy. I graduated and finished FTO early 2013. And on Father's Day of 2013, I responded to my first fatality crash ever as a police officer. It involved a young man named Ethan Couch, which is a name I'm sure many of you are familiar with. I was one of the first people to arrive at that scene, and I was one of the last people to leave. I spent 14 hours there watching them work this horrific crash. After I had walked over bodies and body parts, done what I could do, and then at some point I'm on the traffic perimeter and I'm watching our current traffic investigators of the time come out and do their job, measurements, photographs, again moving over this horrible scene, horrible things, and at that moment, I knew that I had an idea of what my destiny would be with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office, and it wasn't going to be that, to be honest with you. But 6.5 years when I transitioned into investigations, they needed a crash investigator. Fate called me to service. I've been in this job for 6.5, almost 7 years now. I've been through hundreds of hours of training. I have reached an international certification in crash investigation and reconstruction that only 1,500 people in the world hold. So my career took a lot of changes, as you can tell, some dramatic changes. But now I'm here to tell you about how that does not compare to the drastic changes that have happened in the lives of the around 150 fatal and near-fatal crashes I have worked in the last 6.5 years. The changes my life has taken do not compare to what has happened to those people. And today, Sheriff Wayborn has given me a platform to tell you some of their stories, some of the things that we do not see necessarily on the news or the headlines, or that we may not even be aware of, but yet I see in the trenches far closer to it than anyone else. And I want you to understand that we see the headlines of the drunk drivers that kill people, the racing, the recklessness, and we think, well, those people were doing things that caused the crash, right? But I'm going to tell you that the majority of the people that die in these crashes did not do anything wrong, okay? They may have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, but no, these people were like you will be here shortly, whenever you leave here, whenever you go down to your cars, whenever you load up everything and then you drive to the next part of your day, whether you're going home, whether you're going to lunch, whether you're going to the next part of your workday. The majority of the people that die in these crashes once did the exact same thing you're doing, and they thought they would make it, and they didn't. And I want to explain to you, too, that these crashes aren't just young, reckless drivers. 150 times I've had to deal with people as old as great-grandparents, all the way down to a young fetus torn from the mother's body in the crash. Crashes know no bounds on victims. And now I want to tell you some stories that go beyond the numbers. We see the numbers, they're horrific, but they still don't tell us the full story. They don't tell you about the lost. They don't tell you about even the survivors who were permanently altered, either by injuries or medical complications. They don't tell you about the man that survived being hit by a truck and lost 10 years of his memories. 10 years with his wife and his kids and his grandkids gone in the blink of an eye because of someone's carelessness. He did nothing wrong. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They don't tell you about all the people who were lucky to live, and yet their life will never be the same. They don't tell you about the families that are left broken and empty, the parents that lose their children, the children who lose their parents. They don't tell you about the families and the family members who have committed suicide and grief over the loss of their loved ones. Those aren't in these numbers, and yet those are still people who have died because of fatal crashes in Tarrant County. They don't tell you the heartbreaking story of a woman that we dealt with who we worked 2 separate crashes in 3 months, both involving one of her sons. She lost both her children in a season to crashes in Tarrant County. I could keep going on. I mean, honestly, I could tell you about how this affects the witnesses. I could tell you how this affects the first responders who have to deal with this every day. I could tell you how this affects society, financially, emotionally. But I'm just going to sum it up as you have to imagine that our community is a pond. And one of these fatal crashes is that giant stone being thrown in it. And we see the splash. We see the initial carnage. But those ripples go out until they've touched every corner of our community, I assure you. And all in all, we all know it. Our driving habits as a community are getting worse. We all see it every day. And we, as a community, are leaving a trail of mangled bodies, broken families, and ruined lives in our wake. Now, these chiefs, the sheriff and these chiefs here, they're going to tell you about a new initiative that they're going to do to change this. They're going to tell you how they're going to put me out of a job, okay? And I'm happy for it. I hope they do. I hope that we minimize this thing to the point where my job is no longer necessary. And I think this is going to be a fantastic first step. So with that said, I just want to leave everyone here with one thought before I turn it back over to Sheriff Wayborn. Every single person on the road in Tarrant County has the power and the responsibility to stop these crashes from wrecking our community. Every single one of us controls the vehicle we're driving, the speeds we go, and the behaviors we exhibit, both in our vehicle and towards each other. And I'm going to ask everyone to please do their part to save these lives. Thank you. And now I'll turn it back over to Sheriff Wayborn.
Good job. Well, once again, thank you for coming, and I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes here. We want to send a strong message to the community today that we are united together in law enforcement in which to make it a safer city yet. We have over 150 fatalities so far this year, and this group is tasking together, intended to accept or to go about traffic enforcement and those people that are violating the law. I do believe that 98% of our drivers are great drivers. I think they are truly here in Tarrant County friendly, respectful, kind, allow you to cut in, slow down, and make sure that they get to where they're going. It's that 2% that we're coming after because they cause havoc out there on the roadway, and we're going to come and get them. And with that said, it gives me great pleasure, and we're excited about having him in Tarrant County, is Chief Eddie Garcia.
Good afternoon. First of all, I just want to thank the sheriff for bringing us all together on this. As the sheriff mentioned earlier, quite frankly, one of the reasons that Tarrant County is so safe is because of the amazing men and women that don these uniforms that work for each of us chiefs and directors that are here. That's the reason it's safe. And our job as directors and or chiefs is to ensure that we put our individuals and our people in the best places to succeed to ensure that they keep this community safe. When it comes to freeway enforcement, I will say this, and I'll come from a different perspective as well. You know, whether it is major accidents that are caused by speed, inattention, inebriation, we need help and we need assistance with regards to being visible on the roadways, conducting enforcement on the roadways. Usually within our departments, we'll try to force multiply within our departments to ensure that we have individuals in the places to succeed. But having a group of chiefs and directors and DPS as well with us in this endeavor is something that's tremendous and amazing to me. To bring collectively all of our gifts and tools and all our amazing people together to ensure that our roadways are safe. I will say this, it's not just about the accidents, and as you've heard the statistics and you know the statistics with our accidents that we have with speed, inebriation, inattention, etc. It's also the criminal element that traverses our roadways, whether in Tarrant County or coming from in the entire DFW area. And the fact that we will be more visible on our roadways is important. Because as you all well know, not only the fatalities we have, but we have violent crime that happens on our roadways. Much too often we have road rage incidents that happen on our roadways. And we want to ensure that people know and understand that these roadways, these freeways here in Tarrant County, there will be people watching. We will be there. And so rest assured, as you enter our county on our freeways, you might as well be on our city streets because we will be watching, we will be looking, and we will ensure that our residents are safe, that we're enforcing the law, and that we're taking the criminal element off our streets, which oftentimes our freeways are used for. So I'm proud to be part of this. It's amazing to come back to North Texas, and this is one of the first things that we're doing up here. Tremendous to be part of such an amazing team. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Chief of Arlington PD, Al Jones.
Thank you, Eddie. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so proud to stand up here alongside the leaders to talk about traffic safety. One death on our roadways is one too many. Too often, our officers have to make these gut-wrenching notifications to families that their loved ones have died in a crash. We do not do traffic enforcement because we like it. We do it because it's an effective tool for us to change driving behavior and to save lives. In Arlington, we have stepped up our traffic enforcement over the last several years to make our city streets and highways safe. We use grant money to put additional officers out on the street. We are up. I'm glad to say we are up in our traffic stops this year. We're on pace to do about 120,000 traffic stops this year. Our fatalities in Arlington are down 19% to date when you compare it to last year. But we still need our public's help. We need drivers to slow down, pay attention, drive safely. Speeding and weaving in and out of traffic may save you 10 or 15 minutes, but that's not worth the life or someone else's life. So again, thank you, Sheriff, for having us. I thank you for the collaboration, and I'm just looking forward to the great work that we're going to do here in Tarrant County. Sorry. I would like to introduce Regional Director Sherrod.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeremy Sherrod. I'm the Region Chief for the Texas Department of Public Safety here in North Texas. So just like everybody else said, thank you, Sheriff Wayborn, number one, for allowing us to be a part of this initiative, and not just that, the rest of the chiefs in this room. I can tell you what I'm most proud of is the relationship and the partnership that I have with them. So it's an honor to stand beside you all. It's undoubtedly known that we all represent different agencies, okay? We lead different men and women in different uniforms. But on so many things, we come together to put the safety of those in our communities first. And this is one of those issues. Traffic safety and enforcement is paramount because far too many Texans lose their lives on Texas roadways every day. And far too many of those deaths are preventable. Now, next week marks 25 years since Texas has had a deathless day. Now, let me put that in perspective to you. Since November 7th of 2000, at least one person has died every single day up until this point. That's somebody's loved one. We got to do better as Texans. Now, we are constantly messaging, slow down, wear your safety belt, pay attention, and most importantly, never drink and drive. If we can simply do those things, there's no doubt that we will reduce the amount of crashes that occur on Texas roadways. Now, as part of our DPS's commitment to Texas, and specifically North Texas region, DPS is adding Texas Highway Patrol troopers on the roads here in Tarrant County permanently. Now, what that means is for over 2 decades, troopers have not been permanently stationed in Tarrant County. Well, now they will be. Now, these new additions are what we call Sergeant Area, which is a grouping of 10 troopers that will focus on traffic enforcement here in Tarrant County. More importantly, they will serve as a force multiplier for our state, our local, and our federal partners. They will also service the Texas Anti-Gang Center that's in Irving. Now, make no mistake, we will be out looking this weekend for aggressive drivers and intoxicated drivers. So if you're thinking about getting behind the wheel and being intoxicated, just understand we'll be waiting on you. Now, the video that you saw earlier, it's more than just a caption of events, okay? It's an expression of grieving hearts who will no longer see their loved ones. That's our why. That's why we do what we do. That's why we are standing up here right now. When all of us work together, our communities, our neighborhoods, and our families are much safer. This is what Texas is all about. and DPS is proud to be a part of that collaboration. Thank you so much. I'll turn it back over to Sheriff Wayburn.
Well, what our mission here is today is that we're going to be tasking together. You might see a deputy sheriff in Azle, a trooper in Grand Prairie. We're going to be working together to curb this. And as I said earlier, you know, we already have over 150 deaths. And the thing about it is, if that statistical trend continues, at least 31 more people will be killed in traffic accidents between here and the end of the year. Now think about that chilling statement, what I just said, of prophesizing that 31 people will die if we don't change what we do. 31 people. We don't know when, who, or where, but we do know why. And that why you've heard. People speeding, people intoxicated, road rage incidents, reckless driving, DWI, failure to wear a seatbelt, texting while driving. That will always be the why. 100% preventable. And we need the good citizens of Tarrant County to decide to drive safer today. We need people to slow down. And those chuckleheads that decide to drive recklessly, those chuckleheads that decide to drive DWI or commit road rage, we're going to be there. And we're going to bring the full force of the law to bring you to justice. So our thing is, thank the 98% that are driving good, and those 2%, we're coming after you. Thank you all for being here, and we'll take questions. We've got a whole bunch of chiefs here, so if you have a specific city that you want to talk to or anybody else, we're open for questions.
Can you talk about just how this group of 10 troopers is maybe going to focus particularly on some of the hot spots in Tarrant County?
Yes, absolutely, and that's a wonderful question. When it comes to specifically looking at locations that we could focus on, number one, we're going to start with our partners from the cities and also to our sheriffs. But internally, one of the things that we focus on, like you said, hotspots. We have our own division that gives us information. It's intelligence in terms of where these troopers need to focus their traffic enforcement, not just traffic enforcement, criminal enforcement, just like Chief Garcia said earlier. So yes, absolutely.
Outside of the 10 troopers being placed here in Tarrant County, what else are you guys going to be doing? Like, are there any other pushes, initiatives, like social media campaigns? I mean,
sure, absolutely. You know, we're always pushing safety when it comes to traffic enforcement, criminal enforcement, but in terms of what we're doing, it's media, social media, it's getting the word out. You name it. But in terms of if we're doing anything else, yes, we have our social media, we have all that. But yes.
How much does road rage factor into these numbers?
Yeah, Edgar.
You know, with regard to the road rage factors, I'll tell each one of us as chiefs that have freeways and highways in our cities and our wake up often to road rage incidents that have occurred. I know I have personally. And quite frankly, part of the reason is that we need assistance collaboratively to have more presence on our freeways. The less presence you have on your freeways, the more apt people are going to not be able to handle their emotions, and road rage happens. The fact that people will know now, and again, I know we've talked a lot about traffic, but as the director said as well, this is also what the crime that emanates from lack of presence on our freeways and our roadways. We are all trying to enforce on our freeways the best we can, but this collective understanding and knowing that irresponsible drivers need to know that it's not just Fort Worth that's looking, it's all of Tarrant County looking. For the criminal element that drives irresponsibly and for the criminal element that conducts in road rage and things of that nature, also they need to know that the entire county is watching. And so it does factor in. I know we've talked about traffic enforcement, but I'm glad the director talked about the fact that it's also crime that will eliminate as well. So it plays a big role as keeping our roadways safe. It's not just about collisions, it's about the violence that also has occurred on our roadways.
And do you all have any idea how much road rage has contributed to these numbers? Any percentage, any idea of that?
I don't know that. No, I think the concentration was to talk about the traffic fatalities that have happened. I can tell you anecdotally, and we can get data for you, and I think you all know that you've reported on a lot of stories with regards to road rage that have occurred on highways in not only here but in the entire state of Texas. And so I know for a fact from experience that having more presence, and whether it's a traffic stop that's being conducted on a freeway, someone will know. That presence that someone knows is here hopefully will stop someone from choosing violence.
This is going to be a new normal in Tarrant County based on that, because you're going to see stronger patrols, you're going to see different folks in different places doing different things, and as you just heard from the chief, it's going to have impact, because in that 2% I speak of, that's our bad guys too. So we'll be getting them off the road as well.
And how long will this be in place? Do we know, is there a deadline?
No deadline. It's a new normal, we hope.
And I guess just the other question I have is, like, where do we go from here? I mean, I feel like this is a message we've been talking about. You guys, I'm sure, have talked about it several times in your career. I've covered these type of events. People are still dying. I mean, what more needs to be said and done for this to click?
I think that Chief Jones has done a great job in Arlington. He's got a great model there. We're trying to actively do the similar model where we use intelligence to hit those hot spots that Jeremy spoke of, and that we hope to speak up or set us up for more success in that arena.
If I can add as well, I mean, this is a reduction strategy, and like most things, not an elimination strategy. Unfortunately, the one missing part of this is that we all have to take personal responsibility. You know, to put the onus on law enforcement men and women to stop actions from people, whether it's driving, whether it's the violence that occurs, the onus is on them. The onus is on us as drivers in this city. And so we're going to do our best to ensure that we're doing our part from a presence perspective. But if there is a message that goes out, every resident of Tarrant County needs to be responsible for their actions. And so as we do our best to reduce lives lost or reduce violence on our roadways, we also have to put the onus and the burden where it truly should belong, is on the perpetrators of crime on our roadways.
Si puede hablar en español, por favor, de esta iniciativa. ¿Cómo va, qué es lo que están buscando, qué es lo que quieren hacer para todo el condado de Tarrant y cómo van a trabajar juntos?
Sabemos que las carreteras nosotros y las autopistas que tenemos aquí en Tarrant County, algunas veces son bien peligrosas, porque gente está manejando irresponsablemente. Han habido tiroteos que han pasado en las autopistas, y la presencia que vamos a tener nosotros, colectivo de todas las agencias aquí en Tarrant County, va a ser algo bien importante y fuerte para nosotros, para que nuestra comunidad sepa que estamos ahí, que estamos presentes. Y si puede parar a alguien por manejando borracho, o si puede parar a alguien por manejando y empezando un tiroteo con alguien en las carreteras, eso es lo que queremos hacer. Y eso es lo que estamos haciendo aquí juntos hoy.
¿Y van a poner más oficiales en las calles, en las carreteras? ¿Cómo van a trabajar?
Van a haber más oficiales en las carreteras y en los autopistas de Tarrant County.
Y algo que estaba mencionando era los criminales que también usan las autopistas. ¿Se puede platicar un poquito sobre eso?
Vos sabemos que los criminales usan las autopistas cuando están haciendo lo que hacen ellos. Es importante para nosotros que ellos sepan que nosotros vamos a estar ahí, que el condado va a estar ahí, que no pueden solamente manejar en las autopistas sin creer que los policías no van a estar ahí. Que sí, tenemos responsabilidades en nuestras ciudades, pero también ahora vamos a estar juntos trabajando en las autopistas. Y tienen que saber, el elemento criminal de Tarrant County tiene que saber que nosotros vamos a estar ahí y estamos viendo lo que están haciendo.
All right, one more question. What does success look like for this program over the course of the next 6 months here? What are going to be your, markers for success for this initiative?
Well, if we don't have 31 people killed in fatality accidents by the end of the year, that's a good first step. If we can reduce that number, as the chief said, it's not elimination. We're praying for reduction based on what we're doing. So we'll see what that percentage of reduction is, and we'll continue it. And if we keep it up, maybe we can get it down even further. But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for helping spread the message that there's a new normal, and there's going to be enforcement going on the highways and byways of the entire Tarrant County. Thank you.
This is CBS News, Texas.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for CBS News Texas at 11 o'clock. I'm Madison Sawyer. Karen has the morning off, and we've got First Alert meteorologist Jeff Ray here as well because, Jeff, it was a cold start to the day.
Oh, did you notice?
It was very chilly.
Yeah.
In fact, some folks I know woke up in the 30s this morning.
Yeah, they were, and there were freezing conditions in some spots, but we'll open up the floor here. You can see that we've got sunshine over the Lone Star State, so we'll have a lot of sunshine today, but we've got this strong north wind. I should say persistent. Yesterday was a strong north wind. Today is just enough of a north wind to keep these temperatures in check. So what will happen is the daytime highs will again be pretty much in your 60s. So what I'm going to be looking at right now is talking about tomorrow, because I think as we go into the weekend, we're going to have another shot of cold air, and I cannot get this to work. So you're just going to hear me out on this. Today's high is going to be in the mid 60s. We'll be in the 70s tomorrow with sunshine again like we're having today. But we're going to have a system come over us on Saturday. It's going to bring us some rain. It's only a 20% chance, but the front comes through, and then we end up with some sunshine by end of day and highs only in the mid 60s. So fall's going to stick around. And Madison, I promise to show everybody more stuff in full weather coming up.
All right, we'll look forward to it, Jeff. Thank you so much. Well, today, Fort Worth ISD leaders are in Austin just 1 week after the TEA announced it is taking over the district. They're going to be meeting with the TEA and Commissioner Mike Morath to review the plan. Now, our Lacey Beasley walks us through how we got here.
For starters, this is the first time leaders within Fort Worth ISD will get to meet with Texas Education Commissioner Mike Morath in full about his decision to take over the district. Now, this is called an informal review, and it is a closed-door meeting. Now, this is all because of a now closed campus that rated F 5 years in a row, and that triggers a state law which allows the state to intervene. And that intervention includes getting rid of this elected school board and instead appointing a board of managers. During today's meeting in Austin, Fort Worth ISD leadership can present any information to Morath on their desires for him to consider in his decision-making related to the Board of Managers and conservator. The conservator will have authority under Texas law to make sure the district implements turnaround plans. On top of this, Commissioner Morath is also beginning a nationwide search for a new superintendent, which could still be Dr. Karen Molinar. She will have to reapply and re-interview for her job if she'd like to keep it. Now, following this meeting, if the commissioner decides to move forward with the takeover, Fort Worth ISD can file a petition for review with the State Office of Administrative Hearings. The meeting is scheduled for 4 p.m.